Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Okay, listen. I'm stuck inside this book. Yes, it's not my fault, okay? I was just trying to discover a new game and then everything... Not important. I need you to help me. I need you to go and find a couple of pages so that you can fix the book that I'm inside of in order for me... Hey, don't close the book, please. No, I can't go back in the dark. You really do not understand. Don't close the... To close out Request Month, let's all get confused together as we discover the point-and-click classic adventure game, Myst. I have heard both sides of the coin with this game before I went into it. That it is a classic for a reason, and that it still completely holds up, and that only the nostalgia blind feel that it holds up in the slightest, and it was good in the day, but not anymore. Well, I'm going into it without any nostalgia at all, so we'll have to see how it turned out. Also, despite the fact that my physical copy is the Myst 10th Anniversary Edition, instead I was playing the most current version to be found on Steam. This is mostly due to Windows 10 not playing nice with something designed to be played on Windows 98 and XP. But the point is, did the game hold up? It did! Oh, sure, there were still plenty of issues with the game, but it was still really enjoyable overall. Unfortunately, because it's all puzzles, it's going to be a little difficult to review in my normal style, but I'll do my best. Well, actually, I didn't know the story for most of the game. I appeared on a deserted island, I didn't know who I was, why I was there, what I was doing there, how it had come into existence, anything. There had been an intro cinematic before I started, but that just showed me a man falling through the void talking about the island of Myst. It is as informative for me to let you know that Sky would like to say hello-ness as that intro cinematic is to anyone not in the know. Now, I was supposed to notice two things right away. The first was a giant circular device in a hidden chamber. It creates an unknown topographic map. What it also does is provide you with a secret message about the plot, but I was a blind moron who didn't notice the panel on the wall for several hours. The rest of the story is relayed through two sources. One is really obvious. There's a collection of journals on a bookshelf in the main building that are full of writings about the magical worlds that the main character visited. Yeah, I don't feel you're the main character. Who are you then? I don't really know. I finished the game and my best answer is that I'm me? Somehow brought to the island of Myst through means unknown? How I got here, I don't know, since the island doesn't truly exist, I think. See, the story is, I think that there are magical journals in ink, which the main character has written with, and in. Through his writings, incredible worlds come into being that he can use the journals to visit. He eventually brought his sons, but something went wrong, and it's up to you to sort out who's responsible and why. But upon your arrival, you don't know that. The last way the story is immediately conveyed is a note on the ground written from the writer to his wife. It explains that one of the sons that are trapped in the red and blue books in the study are responsible for everything that's gone wrong. He's hidden the travel books around the island and reminds her how to access the codes that will remind her how to get to them. I didn't find this note until I'd been playing for several long, bemusing hours before a stream viewer guided me to it. Apparently, it was easier to see in the original versions, and all of the new and prettier grass that was added for the update I was playing effectively hid the dingy piece of paper. Even without knowing what I was doing or why I was doing it, I was having a lot of fun with the game. And I was still progressing, because you don't need the backstory in order to solve the puzzles. If you just treat the world logically, for the most part, and you look around and you consider everything and what it could mean for everything else that it interacts with, then most of the time you'll come up to the solutions that you needed. In fact, I was really surprised. I had always had the impression Myst was hard, but most of the puzzles were really easy and or just required you to find the clue or key element. Most of the times that I got stuck, it was my own fault for failing to notice something so obvious that I couldn't figure out how on earth I had missed the solution in the first place once I'd seen it. There were two exceptions, though. The first, and more reasonable, was the minecart puzzle. You're meant to realize that your cart makes a different noise depending on which way you're supposed to go next. There can be several ways to go, however, and no real way to know where you're going. Maybe I'm just thick, but I genuinely can't even begin to understand how I was meant to intuit this. and you go in circles. I swear that the ending area is actually located somewhere I'd already been and returned from. But again, maybe I'm the only one that had an issue with it. The puzzle that I refused to accept as legitimate was the ending of one of the islands. You've solved all the puzzles, explored everywhere, and there's nothing left. The final solution turned on some lights, and music has appeared in one of the other areas. There's nothing to be found, however. There's nothing to interact with. What are you meant to do? I actually thought I might have to flip switches in a particular order, which was obnoxious, because the switches lost all power if you hit the wrong one. It turns out that what I was actually supposed to do was walk up to the completely empty table that I had been completely unable to interact with this entire time, and had no reason to attempt to interact with now. I had to click on the empty table, and the book would meld out of the wood. I will now read a small section of the hints menu to you. Remember, this is a logical world. If you think like you're really there, you will gain more insight.
I'm going to hurt something so badly that it'll wish it had never been born.
Why would I go to an empty table and click on it? Why would I go to an empty table and click on it?
Remember, this is a logical world.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
It is not.
Beyond that, my only other complaint is the movement controls. The classic controls like to cause me to move unexpectedly and makes it difficult to figure out where I am in this world. Many of the worlds look beautiful, but you'll never truly realize that because you can only look in the cardinal directions, and only if there's a reason to face that way. The new controls give you free range of motion, but you need 3 hands to look around, move, and check for what your mouse will interact with. Your movement will also be miserably slow no matter what you put your settings to. Overall, it's still playable despite the random frustrations, however. How to wrap up this review is the real question, though. Without having played through the worlds, the ending won't make sense. I'll just say it was an odd ending, but a fun one. I touched that book up right goodly. The final world that I think was added into the modern version of the game I was playing was absolutely beautiful too. It was a quiet, introspective ending to a quiet, introspective game. If you're not that big a fan of puzzle games, this is not the game for you. But if you have a passing to strong interest in them, then I could say Myst is definitely a strong contender for your time. So then, hopefully you're that type of person, and if so, I'll see you on the other side of the void.